CQ. We're percolating here. CQ, hello CQ. CQ, the Old Friends Net. Time for the Tuesday edition of the Old Friends Get Together. This is your net control for today, W4MEC in Western North Carolina. And the Old Friends Net meets 3 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 a.m., Sundays at 5 p.m. Same frequency, 3715 kilocycles. This is carried out in the Amplitude Modulation while we're centered on restoring the technical gear working. If you got any kind of regular generate AM, you're welcome to join. And this is a great place to look for gear, swap something, ask for a part or a bit of information. It's here somewhere. This net is also an old-fashioned round table style, so I'll take net check-ins a couple of times during the net and get everybody seated at the table. So, for those wishing to participate today, please give W4MEC a call and come down.
Good morning, Charlie. WA4LR.
N4LQ. WB4ARK.
10-4 Alpha Kilo.
Last station had a carrier, but no audio. Well, maybe they'll wake up as we go along. Let's see. We got Dave, WA4LLR, Steve, N4LQ, Buddy, WB4ARK, and Glenn, N4AK. Any further check-ins for round 1? Alrighty, well, we'll start out with the 5 of us, see how far we get. And let's see, and I'm sure we got our list in order, LLR, LQ, ARK, and AK. So good morning, fellas. I guess the rest of them are sleeping in. And maybe they're out cutting their grass early before it gets too hot, who knows. But I forgot to look at the temperature, but it looks like it's clear outside, and it's not as warm as it has been here in the morning, but it's still a little toasty, so yeah, the humidity is what's killing it. So let's get started with Dave, WA4LLR in the group, W4MEC.
Okay, Charlie. This is W4MEC and the Old Friends, WA4LR. Well, good morning to everybody. We've got about 65 degrees and mostly sunny up here in the eastern jungles of Yancey County. Hope everybody's doing well today. Band conditions are a little bit squirrely, but that's not unusual. We're having a minor geomagnetic storm. So, yeah, I don't know where everybody is. Maybe they'll wake up like Charlie said. But we're on the Babcock this morning, and HQ 150. So we'll send her on down to Steve. What's happening down in the city of Pleasant Living? N4LQ, WA4LLR.
And WA4LLR, N4LQ. Well, it could be that everybody is hiding out from the geomagnetic storm. Anyway, it's a little warmer here this morning. It's 75 degrees on the north side of the house behind a bush. So usually it's about 69 or 70. So anyway, I think something's going to happen this evening or this afternoon. They're predicting an inch of rain, but the way things are, it's really hard to tell what's going to happen. Boy, that Babcock, boy, I tell you, that sounds just absolutely excellent. I'm on the 32V3, 75A4, and horizontal loop antenna as usual. So let's see, buddy, over to you. Hope we can pick up some other people here pretty soon. WB4ARK, N4LQ. B3
N4LQ, WB4ARK. Fine business, Steve. There's 79 here. And it's on the north side of the house. Sun's coming up. Looks like we're going to have a clear day to start with. And we have a great number of powerful static crashes. Wonder where the storm is. Got to be within 100 or 200 miles of here, I would think, with these crashes. Otherwise, the band is very quiet. And so we're just taking it easy in this hot weather and not doing too much outside, that's for sure. So over to N4AK, WB4ARK.
Okay, good morning, buddy. WB4ARK. And a small group. The signals are very good. Charlie, I forgot yours wrong. I forgot the estimated for Dave is 20 plus over 9, and Steve is 30 over 9, and Buddy, you're 30 over 9. Well, good. As you told, 6x7 dB upward modulation, which is much better than the opposite. 75 degrees here. Computer says it feels like 81, but I'm in the air conditioning house, so it feels like it's about 75. Okay, 45% chance of rain today. But it didn't say what time, but I got my grass mowed last Saturday, so I'm all right. I'm on the FCD H10 reported SB200. So, Charlie, thanks for getting up and calling in.
Very good, Glenn. N4AK in the group, W4MEC. And do we have anybody that'd like to join us? Give me a call. Well, that's the last time I'm going to shower and shave for a short net, I'll tell you. It's W4MEC. Real good. Well, that Babcock does sound amazingly well. I went and looked, reminded myself of the schematic there, and that thing was designed for a carbon mic with a transformer input to push-pull mic driver 12AU7, which fed push-pull to a pair of 6AQ5. So that whole thing is balanced all the way through. Maybe that's the reason it sounds good, but Steve, that's a pretty simple circuit, something you could reproduce there and hook up to a T150 or something. I don't know. Or some other transmitter that uses low power plate modulation. Well, I should say high level plate modulation, but not a big transmitter. So I vaguely remember mine had a switch in it for carbon mic or crystal. I could not find the schematic showing that. I don't know if it was a modification someone put in it or they actually did that. But I remember on mine I did not use a carbon mic, so somewhere along the line it had a mod. So, and I did check it's 70 degrees here, and that's it's on the east side of the house, but it's the sensor is in my air conditioner unit, so sometimes it reads a degree or two higher. on WWV, and it was just absolutely clear as a bell and strong. And since my wife lived and worked in Hawaii many years ago, I said, here you go, here's Hawaii checking in this morning. So anyway, she thought that was pretty neat. So let's go around. WA4LLR, W4MEC.
W4MEC, WA4LLR. All righty. Well, that's good. Hawaii was making the jump. I don't know. I've not monitored WWV in quite some time. I did listen to them a bit yesterday while I was working on an antenna, but I've got a couple of clocks that have the VLF receiver in it that adjust WWV, so they've kind of got me spoiled. My wristwatch has the little receiver in it, and then my station clock down here does as well. So that's a pretty neat system. I'm thankful it didn't get defunded like almost happened a few years back, or at least they threatened it. Did some work yesterday. Had my tower down and working on the hex beam, which had been out of commission since Helene. But I finally got some help in taking it down the other day, and where I could work on the antenna, and got it repaired, and got the tower stood back up. So that's one thing I can check off my list that I've been putting off. Finally got it done. A few items from this day in history. On this day in 1606, Rembrandt was born. On this day in 1799, Napoleon's troops found the Rosetta Stone, which came in awfully handy for decoding hieroglyphics. On this day in 1903, the Ford Motor Company took its first order. On this day in 1964, a ham was nominated for president. Of course, that was Barry Goldwater. And on this day in 1965, Percival Lowell's beliefs about Mars were crushed when Mariner 4 cruised at 6,000 feet above the planet, sent pictures back to Earth showing there was not an intricate system of canals and other signs of Martian life. I'm sure that was kind of a letdown to a lot of people. But Percival Lowell was an interesting character. He was just absolutely convinced that Mars had life on it. And of course, that's the reason he built the observatory out in Flagstaff, was to do more research in that direction. On this day in 2006, Twitter was launched. And on this day in 1922, Leon Max Lederman was a co-recipient of the Nobel Prize in Physics for research on neutrinos. He was born on that day in New York City. So, yeah, one other. In 1883, circus performer Charles Stratton, also known as Tom Thumb, died at age 45. So, Steve, down to you, N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Tom Thumb, WA4LLR, N4LQ. I think he's the one that he rode a bird of some sort around. Was that a seagull? Yeah. I guess that's the guy who rode on a seagull. Anyway, the Martians heard that we were coming and hid all those canals and things temporarily until we were way past the planet. So we still don't know. And I was getting a kick out of reading a post on Facebook. I belong to one of the Morse code things on Facebook. some guy said, "What is wrong with all these hams? They send EN, and what does EN mean? Every time they start a transmission, they say EN." And of course, he's using a code reader, and somebody said it's R, and it is, you know. And when you use a bug or a straight key, you come back with R for Roger, but you kind of drag it out a little bit, you know. And the longer you drag it out, that means the better you received it. So you go like dit da dit, you know. So they have a different concept of Morse code than they should. It's more of a personal thing, and electronic devices have taken all that out, and now it's kind of soulless in a way. And Dave, okay, on the WWV, I went to the home of a shortwave listener several years ago, and he was not a ham, but he had a whole room full of really nice, high-quality shortwave receivers, and they were all hooked to the same antenna, and they were all turned on, and they're all tuned to WWV. And as far as I know, that's all he ever did was sit there and listen to WWV. And I said, oh boy, I couldn't take much of that. There wasn't much else to listen to, you know. So that's what he did. Anyway, let's see, did I have anything else? Guess that's about it. So over to you, buddy. WB4ARK, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WB4ARK. Yeah, WWV reminds me of my visit to the station at Greenbelt, Maryland, back in 1965, something like that, just before they moved to Boulder, Colorado. Got a tour of the transmitter. Leo Hanya was there and several others, but he was the one that gave me the tour. They had this room. It was brass or copper lined, air conditioned, and it had many oscillators in it. And they were checking them for drift and so forth. It was very interesting. You didn't want to stay in there too long because you would change the temperature of the oscillators and affect the test. But it was very interesting. The equipment was becoming very old at that point. Insulation was falling off of the wires, and it was in a pretty disrepair condition. But antenna site was rather interesting, and they had a microwave link down to I think it was Goddard spacecraft facility, which they were up on a hill, and this spacecraft facility was down lower, and the microwave link was on the corner of their building and went downhill toward that the space flight center, which was using their signal. Well, Mars, they announced yesterday that there's a chunk of material that was ejected from Mars, probably by the impact of a meteor, some very long time ago. Ended up in the Sahara Desert, and it's the biggest chunk of Mars that we have. Now, they've got equipment up there that is collecting samples, but due to lack of funding, they are not going to be able to bring it back anytime soon. So that's on the back burner. So this piece is going to go on auction very soon, and maybe today. But it'll be interesting. Supposed to sell for the several millions of dollars. So N4AK, WB4ARK on auction.
Okay, buddy. WB4 ARK and the old friend, November 4 Alpha Kilo. And Charlie, I got a S-meter reading on you. So you're 30 over 9. Very nice signal this morning. Very quiet here. And I'm sure you've heard knock-knock jokes. And don't forget the one on Hawaii is knock knock, how are you? Reply, of course, is fine, how are you? So you should use that one on your wife this morning, and then she'll know that you're crazy. All right, mentioning Barry Goldwater running for president 1964 there, Dave. Reminds me that that's the first year that I was voted for President of the United States, was for Barry Goldwater. And I will admit, because he was a ham radio operator, that influenced me to vote for him, among other things. So that's been quite a while ago. I had the opportunity several weeks ago to go to a dermatologist and have some skin cancer removed off my back, and boy, the healing process has been fine, but it's been itching, and you can't scratch it. So tomorrow I celebrate and go get the stitches out, so I hope it'll quit itching. So that's some of the joys of senior citizens. So I didn't hear anybody check in, but I'm sure Charlie will stand by again. W4MEC N4AK.
Okay, Glenn, really good. N4AK and the old friends, W4MC. Do we have anybody that would like to join us? Give me a call. Sound of silence means no, usually. So W4MEC and the old friends. Let's see. What do we got? Old Tom, WA4FJQ. You know that mini hurricane that ripped through on the east side of the state here a week or so back? If you looked at it on the weather radar, it was rotating counterclockwise. It looked like it had an eye. And they were getting winds 65 plus miles an hour. Well, Branch or something took his antenna down again, and he tried to use his one of his antennas vertical or something. I can't remember what he's got hanging in a tree, and he could hear a couple stations, but he didn't even try. So he said it might be a week or two before he can get it back up. He needs antenna wire. And your comments about not being available might make it not anytime soon. Maybe he'll splice it all back together. So I know mine has got a couple splices in it where it's fallen, but anyway, let's see. Well, you know, I tell you, that thing about those rocks that they think they came from Mars. All right, I would like to know, you know, no ship has brought anything back from Mars, a collection of rocks, even though they've got equipment now that will measure that stuff. But before, a lot of times that Mars rock, they said, well, this came from Mars, and they had no data whatsoever. So I'd like to know exactly why they think this piece of rock came from Mars. What are the signs, you know? So Well, it says it's going to be red. Okay, well, so's iron ore. So, but as regard to not buying it, I figure somebody like George Soros, who's a billionaire and actually loves the United States, might buy it for us, you know. But they might just go see him about buying it. Or that other guy in New York, Bloomberg, he's another one. You know, he could fork over some money and buy it, you know. So, so maybe they'd be nice. Let's see. What I got here. I can't read it. Oh, I was commenting about the code and code readers. Well, I understood that the Lake Erie swing, if you went into that mode, you could really mess up somebody that was using a code reader. And but then I had read, I think a few years ago, that the algorithm is pretty darn good now, and even the Lake Erie swing gets decoded. So, and what else did I write down here? No, I can't read it. Oh well. Let's see. Maybe I can decode it by the next go around. So, WA4LLR in the group, W4MEC.
W4MEC, WA4LLR. That's pretty good, Steve, about all the messages beginning with EN. Oh man. You know, I've tried a lot of code readers or code reading programs, and I've never found one yet that could compare to a human ear, because somehow human ears can decipher stuff that if a guy's even sending sloppy or with an odd pattern, and still make sense out of it. And every code reader I tried to use, it just kind of printed out, well, unless it was really good CW, it was still a lot of garbage. But, oh well. Let's see here. WWV, you was talking about that SWL that had all the receivers tuned to WWV. I drove my parents crazy when I was a kid, when I built that first shortwave receiver, and I listened to WWV for hours, and oh Lord, they hated it. But I don't know. Always enjoyed listening to WWV. But anyway, Glenn, sorry about having to have the back surgery. Glad it's healing, and hopefully you can get some relief from the itching when the stitches come out. I guess I've been fortunate. Most of or all of the intervention I've had to have in that area has been on my noggin, or ears or face. I say I had to have some off the top of my head, one off the bridge of my nose, and one off my right ear. Those are the surgical interventions. The freezing is too numerous to mention. So, yeah, it's seems to have come with the onset of old age for sure. Charlie, you were talking about your Babcock. I have to give Cliff credit, because he slipped a little microphone preamp in this one so that I didn't have to use a carbon mic, a little FET preamp that he built. And evidently the combination was perfect. I'm using an unamplified D104 with it, and everybody seems to think the audio is good, so I'm going to give all the credit to Cliff on that deal. Anyway, I'm pulling a KZ4B transmission here. Down to you, Steve, N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Well, we need more of those today since we're so scant. WA4LLR, N4LQ. Well, I used to like to listen to WWV every now and then, but CHU was my favorite, and they were a little stronger. They had some odd frequencies. CHU Canada, they would say, and then they'd come on in French, and they'd say El no modulite or something like that. I never knew what they were saying, but it was both English and French, I think it was French, probably was. And let's see, as far as code readers go, I tell you what, it's disgusting. I was watching a YouTube video of a guy doing a CW contest, and he'd call CQ, he'd hit a program key on his computer, like F1. He would call CQ, and then some guy would come back with his call sign, and every single time the guy came back to him, he couldn't copy it in his head. He was watching his screen, and so he would send a question mark in order to get the guy to send it again. So he would hit the question mark key, did it, and the guy would send it again, and then the code reader would sync up with it and read it. And he didn't even type that in. He would copy and paste, and he'd do that with a control key, Control V and Control P. You can copy and paste, and that would go in, and then he would send the guy's call that way, and say 73s, and had no knowledge of the code whatsoever. But every single station that came back to him, he would send a question mark, so his code reader would sync up with it, and he did the entire contest that way. I found that very appalling. There is one program that's been around for a number of years called CW Skimmer, and it's used for the reverse beacon, and the reverse beacon can listen to the entire CW band and picks out all the CQs, feeds them into a server, and so you can see, if you call CQ, you can see where you're landing and how strong you are around the world, because all these guys are running CW Skimmer on some kind of SDR receiver. But that software is amazing. It can pick up decode the worst sounding code I've ever seen. It can read a bug even, and I have no idea how it does it. And I've seen a lot of software and a lot of machines, and none of them come close to CW Skimmer. And you can download CW Skimmer if you want to play with it, and it's different looking. It's not like the rest of them. You'll see what I mean if you try it. Well, sorry to hear about Tom and his hurricane, and I know he had just put up a 40-meter in-fed vertical, and I think it goes up to the top of the tree, and of course it's cut for 40 meters, and I bet that's what he was trying to use on the net. But if he tried to check in, I don't think I heard him. So, and that kind of makes sense. The wire situation is it's only for this ham antenna wire that I've seen a problem with, so-called ham antenna wire. Lowe's still has the usual stuff, the THHN 12-gauge electric wire, which is a slick coated PVC wire. It's got this thin, like snake skin on the outside that after a few years it tends to start falling off. And I just ordered a 500-foot roll of wire from Lowe's. It's going to take a week to get here, but it's not THHN. It's got a polyethylene sheath. It's called PE. It is oh gosh, what is that stuff? Here it is. XHHW. X-ray Henry Willie. XHHW wire. It's just a little bit more expensive, but not much. But it's the insulation is low dielectric, which is what you want for an antenna, and it's a little thicker, and it's sunlight resistance, which PVC is not. And that's at Lowe's. That's about the only place I could find it. I had to order it. So with that long transmission, I'll send it over to Buddy. WB4ARK, N4LQ. PVC is not.
N4LQ, WB4ARK. Didn't hear anybody try to break in. Well, Steve, I guess that probably cost you about $185, something like that, for that spool. I bought a spool of number 12 wire for the new crossing signals that we put up. Stranded, number 12, PHHN. It was about 170. Yes, sir. Wire has really gone out of sight. I don't even want to talk about it. Well, Charlie, I know you don't believe in a lot of the science, but there's a lot of people out there smarter than we are, and I don't know. I'll have to take their word for it. It's the makeup of the material. It's not anything that is here on Earth, and so they, well, it's not grid. Planet. Yeah. Well. Okay. We'll skip that. Anyhow. I think I'm going to say 73 and get on with the rest of the day. So over to Glenn, N4AK, WB4ARK, and thanks for doing the net, Charlie. Okay, we'll
Okay, buddy, WB4ARK, 73s to you. Have a good rest of the week. It's November 4, Alpha Kilo. Talking about all this wire. Several years ago, I ran a beverage through the woods. I happened to have a trail that was clear, so I had a 500-foot beverage, and I was using the TS2000, Charlie, for the beverage. It has provisions for using a second and particularly the beverage. You just push one of the program buttons, it'll jump over to the beverage. But all the new rigs don't have provision for that. The TS2000 had a provision for that. What an amazing transceiver. I'm still using mine about every week. I use it on AM with a AL1500. Get great AM signal reports on it. The timing was perfect for a call of nature a while ago. So as we senior citizens know, when nature calls, you will respond. But it worked out perfectly. So I got in here on the end of the QSO and I could hear everything. I'm in the bedroom shack and having a Jacob bathroom. So I'm sure I've told you folks what you want to hear already. So anyway, it's been quite nice meeting with this august group this morning. W4MEC and 4AK.
Hey, Glenn, N4AK and the old friends, W4MEC. Anybody like to join us? Give me a call. Quiet. W4MC and the old friends. Real good. Well, we'll make this a 73 round unless we can come up with some more topics. So I believe in science, buddy. I don't have anything against science. Proven science, but theory and speculative science is not really science to me. So if they say they found a rock on the Earth and they tell me it came from Mars, I want to know what the parameters are that they've decided this rock came from Mars and not Pluto, you know. But they came along and said it came from Mars. Okay, so I was being funny about the red, but until, you know, some of the analysis that the probes up there and the robots have done up there of the ground, They made those claims long before that data came back. So why'd they make it? So that's I question that. It's like I don't believe in man-made global warming either. So when you sit down with the actual facts and the actual emotions and argue them out, the facts don't prove it. It's just the way it is. So. Barry Goldwater. Well, yeah, the whole world would have been different without JFK getting assassinated. He did not, when the South Vietnamese president was assassinated, he was very wishy-washy, and he was considering not doing anything with them about their mess over there. But, Johnson decided, let's go full bore on it, and I think Barry tripped up. I remember this was he said they were talking about the war over there, and he said he actually thought about it would be okay to use tactical nukes over there, and that sort of killed him when he said he wanted to use tactical nukes over there. Of course, everybody was thinking, Hiroshima Nagasaki type of weapon when he was just talking about, and he explained it. He says, you can put 2,000 pounds of TNT in a bomb, or you can make a little tiny 2,001 out of nuclear material. It's a lot smaller, but that probably is what killed him on that one. But he was being up to date, I guess, with weaponry. So the THHN wire. Well, I had a fella, I helped him put up a loop, 160-meter loop on his property, and he used THHN, and he spent the rest of his life taking the slack on that thing because it would sag so much. So I don't know if you've left up an antenna long enough for THHN to stretch, but he gave it up, and I think after he brought the loop down, if he would have measured it, I don't know, what is it, a couple hundred feet, he probably would have had 100 extra feet because it stretched so much. But I don't know. I think I'd stick with the hard-drawn copper, copper-plated steel if you had to do something there. So I guess that's let's see. Steve, the fellow with all the shortwave receivers tuned to WWV, I was wondering if did he have them on different frequencies? And so it was kind of like a continuous spectrum monitor. I'd be interested about that. I've done that here, and I put 2 receivers on the air with one on 10, one on 15, and actually 3, one on 5, just for the heck of it, and listen to it like that. But that's an interesting thing to do. So let's stretch her out into a 73 round. Unless something controversial comes up. W4 LLR W4. Let me see.
All righty, W4 MEC WA4LLR. That's interesting, Charlie. You said unless something controversial comes up, and then you hand it to me. Oh, me. I've been accused of being controversial, opinionated, and, oh well, I'm probably guilty of all the above. Let's see here. Sorry to hear about Tom's antenna for sure. I hope he can get that repaired before long. And I haven't had to buy wire in a long time. For some reason, I've had a stash over the years. And, Lord, I don't know when I've bought any wire. It's, I've every time some came up somewhere that somebody had some they were willing to let go of, very reasonable, I ended up with it. So my wife said, you got so much wire that when you pass away, I'm just going to wrap you up in it, and that way I won't have to buy a coffin. Oh, man. And, not being controversial much, but Charlie, I've always had the same question about these meteorites that they say, well, this is a chunk of the moon, or this is a chunk of Mars, or whatever. And I've always been curious as to how they came up with that without particular analysis and comparison of compatible or comparable specimens. But as Buddy said, there's a lot of smart people out there, so I don't pretend to be one of them, but it's always had my curious side interested. Yeah, I've done the multiple frequency WWV monitoring as well. right now, what I usually monitor the beacon network. I've got one of those little MFJ clock monitors. It's not actually a clock. It's just a little computerized gadget that puts up a light on a world map about which beacon should be transmitting based on which band you're tuned to. And kind of interesting to monitor that beacon network. Gives you a real good idea about propagation. I'd heard of that program, Steve, the CW skimmer, but I've never tried it. I'm familiar with that reverse beacon system. You were talking, Glenn, about the TS2000, and I agree with you. I think it's a remarkable rig. I was very fortunate to find one 2 years ago at Shelby at a very good price, and I snatched it up, and I don't see myself letting go of it anytime soon. Well, I've old buzzard as much as I can. Charlie, appreciate you calling it. Steve, I'll pick it up Thursday, since you were so gracious Sunday. And I'll say 7-3, God bless, and everybody have a great rest of the rest of the week, and Lord willing, we'll see you Thursday morning. So, N4LQ, WA4LLR. Appreciate you calling.
Okay, WA4LLR, N4LQ. Did you say Charlie? Anyway, let's see. That rock that fell, it's got a label on it. It says Made in Mars right there on it, so there wasn't any question about that. And it does have a faint red cast to it. You can see that, so I don't think I'd give much for it, really. What good is it? And nobody would believe you anyway if you tried to cash it in. So the guy with the WWV going on in all these receivers, I think he was just listening to 10 megahertz. He had just a short piece of wire going out the window to a tree. That's it. And a whole room full of receivers. This real nice room, beautiful table went all the way around the room, and he had all the fancy higher, 51J, 51S1, Drake R7, Raquel's, and a few Collins, SP600 and so forth. And he would say, "Let me show you this," and he'd go over and turn the volume up, and there it would be, bump, bump, bump. WWV, what do you think of that? He'd smile, I said, "Oh yeah, that sounds real good." And then he'd go to another one and just proudly show off each one of them, and of course they all sounded about the same. Anyhow, on the wire that I ordered, I sent out a link to Lowe's so you can look at that. It's $140, which is much much cheaper than buying this Wireman stuff. And of course, the Wireman stuff is flex weave, and it's got 256 strands, so it's real. You can tie a knot in it. It's kind of nice that way, but I don't need to tie knots in my loop. It is annealed, which is supposed to make it less likely to stretch. It's not hard drawing, but it's annealed, and that's good enough for me. If it stretches, it stretches. It doesn't matter because I'm using ladder line to feed it, and I don't care what the resonant frequency exactly is. So I've got a weight at each corner, concrete block on each corner, pulling down on the rope, so sometimes it moves around a little.
My memory bank, when I was in the service, it was the Davy Crockett. It was a battlefield nuclear weapon that was in Europe with us. Anyway, I had a friend that sent me a website yesterday, and it's new to me, but it's called animagraphs. A-N-I-M-A-G-R-A-F-F-S. Animagraphs. And animagraphs on YouTube. And this was showing in graphic form everything about the SR-71. And it occurred to me, I cannot believe that that kind of information is already out there for our enemies, because if you look at that, I think you'll have the same concern. It's everything about how the fuel was in the tanks and it leaks and everything else. So if you want to, it probably gives you almost a whole hour's worth of graphic information on how the SR-71 works. There are pages of other stuff too, how jet engines work and other things. So when you get bored, you might look at that animagraph, like animated animagraph. So, Charlie, thanks for doing that. Glad to meet with you other fellows this morning. Very, very enjoyable. Band was very quiet. 7-3, W4MEC N4AK.
Okay, Glenn and N4AK and the old friends, W4MEC. Well, what was interesting, so many things back in the 60s on that SR-71 where they figured out, the fact that they figured out they had to design the plane so that it would leaked on the ground because when it was at altitude, it was tight. So they had to do it or it wouldn't work. So just amazing. Anywho, let's look for you fellas on Thursday, and have a good rest of the week. Thanks for everybody that checked in today. And if you see any of the other fellas that didn't, shake your finger at them, say, bad boy. So anyway, y'all have a good rest of the day. I hope you get the rain if you need it, and we'll talk to you later. It's W4MEC, shutting down the old friends net. Bye-bye.